Hi, everyone, and welcome to the One Podcast. I'm excited to introduce you to Gisele Gambi. She does a lot of work that has to do with personal development and expansion and growth. And I actually read something about her that I'll share later, but I would love for you to jump right in and tell us a little bit about your background and how you landed into this part of your becoming Gisele Gambi, where you're at in life. How did you get to this point, settling into, I know what I'm supposed to be doing?
Oh, Lisa, it's a big story,
I
and
like stories.
and I just want to say this before I got onto the podcast. I was sitting here just becoming present,
Mhm.
and I had a lot of shivers on my head.
Oh,
hmm
yeah.
And when that happens, I know something is here.
I like that. You didn't even
And I
tell
don't
me
know
what
what
it
it
is.
is. I don't know what it is, right? But I'm looking forward. I've got so much energy going through my body right now. I'm looking forward to seeing what that is. And I think actually that probably sets up where it all started for me because we go about life thinking that we know what's going to happen. And that's far from the case for most of us.
Yes.
So, my background was I had a great career. I was working in human resources. I was in a directorship role. I was being groomed for an Asia Pacific regional role. I was happy. I thought that was going to be the thing that I would do forever. Yet I had a very big personal crisis that had happened. So I was married in a very unhappy marriage with infidelity and with physical and emotional abuse that I did not tell anyone.
Oh,
Nobody knew anything. And then I fell pregnant. And at the 18-week ultrasound, I found out that my baby had what was called a diaphragmatic hernia,
oh,
which means that he had a hole in his diaphragm and his stomach had traveled up through his
oh no.
diaphragm and was actually growing here.
Oh my gosh.
Right. So most people, this is 26 years ago. So most people at that time would terminate. But we found this beautiful doctor, and he said if the lungs had already been forming, what it would take is an operation at birth, and they would push the stomach back down. They would close up the hole, and he would live a perfectly normal life. So my intuition said, let's go for it.
Yes.
So we went through with it, and he was born, and he went straight on to life support from the very beginning. And then they operated on him at 9 days old, and they discovered that his lungs hadn't been formed, and he
Oh,
would never live without ventilation. So at 11 days, we took him off ventilation, and he passed away. And his name is Joshua, and he would have been 26 this year on the 11th of February. Now, the reason why I share that story is because I completely lost myself after that, right? My husband continued to be unfaithful. I actually fell pregnant again when he told me that he was unfaithful again. I lost the baby the night that he told me. And then that was the breaking point for me. That was when I still hadn't told anybody, mind you. Yeah,
you
I'd kept
still
it all
hadn't
to
told
my,
it about the infidelity. Yeah. And
yeah,
but everybody, did people know about the losing the
yes,
baby? Okay.
yes, 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 yes. So I went overseas and decided that I would leave him, and I left him. And then I really lost myself for a few years, right? I was going out, still working,
Mm-hmm.
but really had lost myself. And then one day, my best male friend said to me, "You need to do this program. You need to do this program." And anyway, I ended up doing the program. And I learned all about taking 100% personal responsibility. I understood where within me why I had created a marriage like that, so much unworthiness, so much unlovability that I had no idea was sitting there behind the scenes. And then on this program, we went into a meditation, and I don't think I'd ever defined myself as being intuitive, really, but
Mm-hmm.
I had always been intuitive,
Okay.
right?
Right.
So I start writing, and I go into this stream of consciousness, and then I realize that my baby is speaking through me. Joshua is speaking through me.
Whoa.
And
Wow.
he's telling me, he told me something that changed the rest of my life. And not only changed my life, but changed all the people that I support. He was the initial catalyst, and it continues through, it ministers through all the people that I
Wow.
support. So he said to me, "You're here to ignite people's spirits and hearts. That's what you did for me. 11 days was all I needed. And now I do the same to you."
You're gonna make me cry.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. And I had no idea what that meant,
Yeah.
right? But I felt it.
Y-
And you can imagine I was very overwhelmed with emotion.
And did you know it was him first, or did you know it was the message first?
No, I
Or
knew
did
it
it
was
all came
him.
at once? Okay.
I could feel him. I could
Okay.
feel him. Yeah. And I could actually, even before then, I would feel there'd be an experience that I'd have. I'd be lying in bed and there's no windows open, there's no air conditioning, no fan going, and yet I'd feel this. Oh, see, I've got shivers again. I could feel this like wind on my face, and I always felt his presence through that,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe he's here with us. I don't know. Maybe he's here with us because I can feel, as I said, I've got all these shivers. So I decided in that moment, like I look back to myself and I think, my God, I was brave because I don't know if I'd do that now, right? I decided in that moment that I needed to leave my work.
Oh, wow.
I know this is the plot twist, right? Because here I was happy. This was the one place in my life that I was happy, and I was being groomed for this big role.
Uh-huh.
But I felt that if I continued to do what I had been doing, that what I'd received in that moment would just dissolve. And so I left my work, and I felt on one hand ridiculous because I couldn't describe to anyone what I was going to be doing. They thought I actually remember sitting at the family dining room table of my mum and dad, trying to explain to them, and they were so proud of me. And they were so proud about the position that was about to come. I was crying because they couldn't hear me and I couldn't explain because I had no idea. So I left, and every day I tuned in, I meditated every single day, and I wrote because I'd always loved writing, even before that moment. Yeah. I wrote and I wrote and I wrote and I wrote. And then 6 months later, the obvious surfaced, and it was the freedom that I had received from taking 100% personal responsibility, the purpose that was surfacing through being connected intuitively. I thought, what an incredible offering that would be to the corporate world,
Yes.
because having been in human resources and all that I dealt with was blame, judgment, conflict, nobody taking responsibility, I thought, I've got the Holy Grail here.
Yes.
So that's how it started. And it's morphed. It morphed very quickly because the people that came to that program, I pitched very innocently with my first laptop, my rote learnt pitch that I was so nervous about. I got the job in a financial services company and I worked with them for several years. But what ended up happening was they loved the program so much that they said, "Can you please put this on for our partners?" So
Oh,
they did that. And then that personal arm just grew naturally. And I let go of the corporate.
as
Yeah.
it always does when we follow. Wow. I love your story. And as you were telling it, I could feel things too. I am going to get emotional. Um, I love your story for a number of reasons, and I want to circle back because I feel it's important. I have no doubt right now that at some point, someone who has lost a child is going to hear this. In fact, I think that this message is for some people that have lost children. I've never lost a child. I can't relate to the loss of a child, especially having him for 11 days and then losing another child, going through all of that. But I think there's a number of things about this call that are very important, and that's why I'm struggling with words. I think there's a spiritual element to this that you and I had not expected, that is for someone who's lost a child and is looking for some solace and comfort and wants to believe that there is a time that they will reconnect with that child again. It may not turn out to be the exact same thing that you had, but I can say I know for sure I connect with people that have passed. And then I was laughing, but not at you, laughing at what it would be like to experience this very clear download of this is what you're supposed to be doing, having no clue exactly what that means. And then suddenly having the bravery to walk away from my job, and no one could possibly understand why. And you can't even put language to it. And it's not like you could say, my baby from 20 some years ago came and told me that this is my calling. People would absolutely think you were illogical unless you have this spiritual depth and knowing. Even then, it's so brave, so absolutely out of left field and unexpected. And then to have the confidence that I'm going to just go ahead and take this leap of faith with absolutely no clarity except this one very special, meaningful conversation about what you're supposed to be doing. And I think that's another important element of this podcast is, and oh, yeah, I felt that's, whew. There are people that are going to hear this and see this that have had a very clear message,
Mm.
however the message came, that
Hmm.
you are supposed to be doing, or you are gifted, or these are the things, this is the path for you to take. Here's what you're called to do. And they haven't had that courage to take that leap. Most of us aren't willing to take the leap. We hear the call, the quote unquote call, but we're afraid because we don't see that next step. There is no certainty and there is no cushion. How do I even do that? I'm walking into complete darkness, and it's not darkness, but it's the complete unknown. And I don't even know if I have the skill set to do that. But I heard a call, and I think there are people that are going to come across this that still feel like I didn't honor it. It hasn't gone away. It's still in there. And I just don't have the bravery or the courage to face it. And then we blame. I don't have the money. I don't have the security. I can't see it. So, what was it, if you don't mind sharing, what
Mm.
was it in you that was able to say, 100% I'm doing this?
So I'd made the decision. That was a done deal. Like I wasn't going back on my decision.
How did you
And then
even make that decision, though? Was there anything in you thinking,
no, it's
no,
the
no?
that's why I look back at myself and I think I cannot believe that I did that now. I don't know if I'd have the bravery that I did back then. Like there was I'm not saying there was naivety, but there was a sense of innocence, right? The message was so pure that I didn't pollute it. My ego didn't come in and pollute it. Seriously, I can't believe that's who I was back then. I don't know if I could do that now. But then again, I mean, there's a whole lot more responsibility, kids and family and whatever. I was on my own, right?
Okay.
But something did come in, and it wasn't. This didn't happen for me to leave my job.
Mm-mm.
This was a magical thing that happened. So my manager at the time came to me and he said, "We need to make someone in your team," and he named the person redundant. And
Oh,
I said, don't make her redundant, make me. Because I had actually, my job, what they had set me up, what I was responsible for, I had stepped into that role, I think maybe 2 years before, and I had done my work. I had centralized, I was to centralize,
hmm.
and I had done it. And so I said, I've done my work, make me redundant. And so there was grace came in, right?
Uh,
So then I had this, I had a financial base
mhm.
in addition to what I had. But the important thing to note here is I didn't need that for me to say yes. I had already said yes.
You'd already made, and that is key. That is key. I
Yeah.
really want people to hear that.
Yeah.
The things line up after you make the commitment.
Yeah.
You're wavering in the commitment, whatever that is, when you waver on the choice, the elements to bless you and the circumstances that you need and the connections that you need or the insight that you need, that comes after the commitment. So in that message, it wasn't quit your job. It's here's what your gifts are and this is what you're meant to do, but there wasn't a time frame on that. It didn't say start immediately tomorrow, and it didn't say quit your job tomorrow, but you
No,
knew in your soul, this is what I'm supposed to be doing, and I'm going to start taking those steps forward in this direction. And then the testament of that is you end up having the opportunity, which you didn't have to do. And how sad that, side note, how sad come in and someone says, make that person redundant. That just hurt my heart for that
Mm,
person. What a
mm,
terrible word to use. Make them
mm.
unimportant and redundant or not needed. But
Retrench them. Yeah.
yes, and you didn't have to say at that point in time, okay, no, I'll do it instead. Sacrifice me, let me go. I love that part of this message as well. But what I felt so strongly was you made the decision and then things start lining up and lining up to lead you on that path, which I think we know that. But sometimes when the leap feels too big into the unknown, it really is hard to
Mm.
say, okay, I'm going to do it. I don't even know what the first step is, except I'm going to quit this job or I'm going to leave this circumstance or I will start writing or I will going on. Those are numerous
Yeah.
examples. I'm getting stuck in
Yeah.
like the first 5 minutes of your story is turning into 45 minutes. I'm loving it so much. There's so many important nuggets in here. Okay.
I
So
can add something if you like.
let's add whatever you would like.
Yeah,
And
yeah, yeah. I actually don't think I've ever named this to myself, but I've named it just in our interaction. So thank you. That decision to keep surrendering, right? To actually not know, to not know how it's all going to pan out. And the only thing to do is to keep feeling in and surrendering to what's here and making that move and then surrendering again and then making that move and then surrendering again and then making that move. I actually realized whilst my ego would so love, give me the plan, give me the words, show me the way,
it all out.
there's actually something quite delicious for me in that intuitive process.
Oh, I agree.
I actually really enjoy the process. I actually really enjoy, and not always, right?
Mm.
There are times when there might be need, and then it's like, please just show me the way. But when I can relax, it is a way of being that there's just so much faith in that way of being for me
Mm.
that I can rest in it.
Do you credit that back to, that's an interesting question. Do you credit that back to the loss of your son
I
that you
think he was the
had to
initial
remain
catalyst.
in faith?
He
Yeah.
was the initial catalyst.
Ah,
But with the people that I work, I've seen so many examples of we would never have known that we would end up here. And where we've ended up is just beyond, right? So because I've seen not only in my life, but I've seen so many examples of that, I want to eat that up. I eat that
yes.
up.
Well, and if we think about it, as you're saying this, that's exactly what this podcast is about. It is consistent stories of people talking about their lives, talking about their gifts, talking about how they help others. But circling back to one of the very first things that you said as the podcast started is, and I'm slaughtering it however you said it so eloquently, is the fact that we really don't know what's ahead. So I have a plan for what's going to happen at the end of today, and I have a plan for what I'm doing tomorrow, and I have a plan for what I'm doing this weekend. And those are my plans that I've laid out. And I truly don't know if those are going to happen. Anything could happen. And I think we ignore or discount or disregard that when we come across something really big that's scary because we feel in control of the plans we design that feel safe to us, that are seemingly in my control. And yet, when there's something that could be for our benefit and comes from out of my control, out of not in my design, then somehow we get frozen. And I think as I'm talking to you right now, I'm starting to understand in a more expansive view that we really do lead from stepping into the unknown all day long, every day. We just don't see that because we have a plan for what's happening in 3 hours and at the end of the day and where we're going to work. We could lose our jobs tomorrow. We could get a promotion tomorrow. We could have someone call us about starting a new company tomorrow. We could meet the love of your life tomorrow. So even when you've got laid out plans, we're acting from an element of the unknown.
Yeah.
Oh. Hmm. This is exciting to me. Okay, so you start moving forward and then you make that connection, you do your first presentation, you get that job, and then it starts expanding. So now you work with people. So tell us about the work that you do specifically. Is this helping everyone to take those steps? What do you do with your clients and what's your favorite element?
Mm, there's so much I could say because there's been such a progression from then till now, right?
Of course.
And honestly, the thing that I have found the most difficult around my business is finding the words to describe what it is that I do. And even the people that I work with, they say, I don't know how to describe what it is that you do. And it has been so frustrating for me. It really has.
And I'm only laughing because the thing that I kept up here that I wanted to ask you about is exactly that.
Yeah,
You wrote a post on the 1st of April that for
yeah,
years I searched for the right words. I tried to define what I do. I'm a
yes,
coach. This is beautiful. I'm going to read it. This is so
yes.
beautiful. Not to cut you off, but you wrote it
No, it
so
might make me
eloquently.
cry.
Probably because it's probably going to make me cry. For
Yeah,
years, I searched for the right words. I tried to define what I do. I'm a coach, a mother, a wife, a friend, a leader, a peer, a human. But what do I do? The question has always been unanswerable until today when my heart answered, not with strategy, not with branding, not with logic, but with the truth that has always been there. I minister love. That's it. That's everything. I walk people from fear to love through hurt, through trauma, through conflict, through illness, through scarcity, through shame, through the moments when everything feels stuck, hopeless, and uncertain. Because when love is present, everything changes. Not always in the way we expect, not always in the way the way we would choose, but always in the way that brings us home. Love is the medicine, love is the path, love is the transformation. And when you surrender to love, you allow yourself to be ministered by love. Your health and your well being, your self image, your leadership, your relationships, your wealth shifts in ways you never imagined. This is my life. This is my work. This is my devotion. If you feel called to walk this path with me, to step into coaching not as a strategy, but as a homecoming to love, I invite you to reach out. This is the shift that changes everything. That's one of the most beautiful things I've ever read.
oh,
Mm, that is so good. And
I think
there
that's going to go on the website. And now it's
that needs
interesting
to go
hearing
in
that
a
back.
frame. That needs to go in a frame. That is a timeless, I'm not exaggerating when I say that's one of the most beautiful things I've ever read. That is flawless in the description of who you are. And I feel it in every fiber of my being how important that is. I minister love. That's it. That's everything.
Yeah. Yeah. I want to do some writing about it. I haven't done it yet, but the words that have been coming to me are bring me the impenetrable, the immovable, the unshakable,
Oh, wow.
right? Because,
Yes.
right, because love is the path, love is the medicine, love is the transformation that will shift all of that.
The impenetrate, I can't,
Impenetrable,
yes.
the immovable, and the unshakable. So that painting behind me, I have a beautiful client who I've worked with for many years who is a doctor of integrative oncology. And her path was when she came to me, she was conventional medicine.
Hmm.
And then she had her intuitive hit. I need to go traveling. I
Ah,
need to explore what else there is. And she went to all parts of the world and came back as a more whole doctor, not only working with conventional medicine, but with complementary medicine.
hmm.
And oh, this is a beautiful story, actually. I didn't think I was going to share this bit, but I will. So I'm jumping, another client who I'd been working with for a while, her brother-in-law had just been diagnosed with motor neuron disease. And I happened to be up in the Byron hinterland where they live at the time, which
Okay.
was nuts. And my client said, could you speak to my husband, whose brother has just been diagnosed with motor neurons? So I spoke to him, and he was saying to me that he was a real workaholic, and his brother being diagnosed was a wake-up call. So we were now going to coach, which was fantastic. In that moment, I said, and it really was another intuitive hit because there was no, if there was thinking, I would never have said this. Um, I said, why don't I give your brother a few sessions as well? And he said, oh, that's really interesting that you say that because he'll be in Sydney in 2 weeks' time, which is where I live. So I met Anthony. Now I'm going to, again, might get emotional. I met Anthony. He came to Sydney, beautiful man. And he told me that he always felt like the black sheep of the family. He was gay. They lived in a small town. He felt like he brought shame to the family. He left the family home for decades because of that shame. And now he had returned. And I said to him, I almost felt like it was wrong for me to present this to him,
Mm.
but I did anyway. And I said, you could tell me, and I swore to him because that was kind of the banter that we had. I said, you could tell me to F off with what I'm about to suggest, right?
Right. I'll be
I
okay
said,
with it.
but okay, I mean, it was us, right?
Yeah.
He said, I said, have you ever considered there might be a sacred purpose to what you're going through right now? Motor neuron disease, you don't survive motor neuron disease. And here I am saying, have you ever considered that there might be sacred purpose? Like, seriously, I wouldn't have blamed him if he slapped me.
Right. It's brave to do that because that's a bold, risky statement. Keep
So
going.
risky, right? So I asked him and he said to me, and he sat back and he said, you know what? I think you're right. And I left our conversation and I called the integrative doctor, Dr. Carol had, and I said, oh my God, I've just had this experience. And I said, I've just realized something, how perfectly placed the premise that there's divine perfection. You can only see it through the eyes of love, right?
Mm.
In terminal illness. I've just seen it. And she said, Gisele, I have been waiting for you to arrive here. I have been waiting for you to arrive, that there's divine perfection even in terminal illness, even in cancer. So from that moment, she started referring some of her clients, not all clients, but some of her clients that were ready to do the emotional work, ready to take responsibility, maybe even see where the cause of cancer, may have been sourced, may be open to seeing the bigger picture. What's the purpose that is being born from here? And so I've worked with several people, and several people have passed away, including Anthony, but they have all passed in peace. They've all passed in peace. Their karma is, for what I will never know, but the karma that we could see here, right,
Yeah. Yeah.
is complete. The painting in the background was painted by the husband of a current client who had been diagnosed with stage 4, largely incurable breast cancer. And the doctor, that's how the doctor defined it. And she said to him, have you ever had any patients go into remission? And he said, one. And she said, well, I'll be your next. And she went into remission in 2 months, 2 months after that conversation. And so her husband, who's an artist, painted that for me to say thank you.
I love
Uh,
it.
yeah, right. So, yeah, love is the medicine. Love is the medicine. Love is the transformation, the shift that changes everything. Even sometimes people with cancer will live, and I have other clients who have gone into remission, and I've also had clients who have passed away, yet they've passed away in love.
I was going to say, yeah, how do we reconcile? I'm sure that will hit someone's heart. Well, how come my sibling passed away, but my friend didn't? Or how come my didn't? Or how come? And we don't have the answers for that.
We don't.
We can blame and we can try, but it's not like there was a miracle for the one that lived and there wasn't a miracle for the one that died because he wasn't worthy or because they didn't try hard enough or there,
No,
there's no answer for that. And it's very challenging when you lose anyone to death, especially if it's unexpected or if there's a comparison of some point. Well, that person made it, but this person didn't. That we can't, there's no answer that will suffice, and we don't have a certainty. But what I would love to really expand on is the love. So I think love appears to be complicated sometimes because I almost started to say there's so many levels to love, but there's not. Love is all encompassing. Love is everything. The very first Dr. Joe event I went to, I'd never done his meditations and I was very overwhelmed. But one of those nights, I think it was the first night, I went back to my room and the most beautiful thing came through me about love. I just found that the other day. It was so clear that love is literally everything. Love cannot not exist. At Dr. Joe, we're talking about how we are energy, our bodies are matter, and it's different densities of energy. So I really started to understand, well, wait, if love is a frequency and love is energy, and if love is in the frequencies and energies that I consist of, and a body is like 0.99999, I mean, 9999999% energy, then I'm 100% energy. Everything about me is energy. And if energy is love, it started to make me understand every single thing about me is love. Everything that surrounds me is love. It just shifted, and I'm going to go off on some long tangent, tried to explain that. But how do you explain what's your understanding of love?
Mm. I read A Return to Love, Marianne Williamson's Return to, I think it was my probably one of my first books when I started waking up. And then I read Neil Donald Walsh's Conversations with God.
Mm.
And for me, what resonates is the idea that we either orientate in love or fear in the right. And I remember when I read Neil Donald Walsh's Conversations with God, and he said, imagine if, and this is how I frame it up actually with clients in the first session, imagine if everything in this room was white, the ceiling, the floor, the windows, the furnishings, our clothing, even we were white. Would we know what white is?
No.
Right. So we need the contrast. So love doesn't demonize the contrast, right? Love doesn't judge the separation, the disconnection, the forgetting. Love doesn't judge the mess that's in the world right now. Love doesn't judge that. Love says that is necessary. We have to forget in order to remember, right?
Yes. And tell me if you agree. In my opinion, love is omnipresent, it's always here. I think when we first hear the word love, we're thinking of the love that a parent has for a child or the love
Right.
that we have for our partner. Since I don't have kids, I would always think of the love I had for my animals. Animals are just such expressions of pure love, but there's so much more. Love is just consistently existing. And I feel that when we are in fear, all we're doing is just cutting off that flow of love. It's still there
Right.
on the other side of the hose, and it's just waiting to come at us. All we've done is close off that connection for a second. The flow is still there. You just open up your hand, it's right back there. It's not like I chose fear, so love left the room. And it's
No.
not like I wasn't courageous and I hurt someone's feelings and I did something when I was 15, so love forgot about me and moved to Montana. Love is still always around you. It's just, are we choosing to see it? It's like how the sun is behind the clouds when it's a cloudy day. The sun is still there. There's something there momentarily where you can't directly see it, but the sun is still coming through the clouds. So
Yes.
depending on how dense we choose to make the cloud in our in the example that I'm using, whatever you're choosing to create as your block from love, whether it is judgment from the past of something that you've done or relationships that you've been in that haven't felt like reciprocal love, love is there, but love is so much more than a feeling between two people or a feeling that we have. It's an actual existence. It is there all the time, right?
Yes. It's a divine consciousness,
Mm-hmm.
right? It's a divine intelligence. I often have this symbol in my mind. The wording that came to me last year is that we are a divine I can't say the word though, composition. We are a divine composition. And the
Mm.
symbol that I see is a music score, and one note on its own doesn't make any sense, right? There's an unfolding to happen. That note has to happen, and this note has to happen, and this note happens. And then we can actually see what the composition is actually, what it actually is, right? There's a moment, there's a time when things fall into place, and we can say, and this is something actually just recently, the process that I went through myself, really, in probably the last month. Again, wording that I've never used before, and I'm going to use the word God now because God and love for me is synonymous. I was born Catholic, raised Catholic. I'm not a religious, I
Mhm.
don't identify in that regard, but certainly from a spiritual perspective, um, is that God has an ulterior motive,
Mm.
right? So especially when things are a little awry and we're not making sense of them, and there's one note here and there's one note here, but the divine composition hasn't been played out yet, right? If we can hold those awry moments in the idea that actually God has an ulterior motive here, and there's going to be a point where I'm going to see it, and I'm going to
Yes.
go, that's why I experienced all of that.
Yes.
That's why I experienced all of that. So I had a situation a few years ago. I had a client fire me completely out of the blue. And this was a client that was very close with, amazing work had happened. I had no idea. And at 10 o'clock at night on Messenger, I got a really out of the blue, we're done. And I'm like, what? What? And
You're like, did you send this to the wrong person? I mean, I'm joking. Whoops.
like,
Yeah.
this is not how we are.
Yeah.
There was nothing leading up to the time for me to see why this was happening. Anyway, I did a terrible job. I did a terrible job in handling that.
Mm.
I did not stay present. I did not stay in my power. I went into panic and I went into rescuing and trying to understand. And anyway, it caused drama. It
Oh, no.
caused drama. And it's that drama spilled out in the mastermind. It was not nice. It really wasn't.
Um,
And beautiful realizations along the way. But the one that I want to get to that I received about a month ago when I saw that God actually had an ulterior motive and all of that, is that I was being trained, and there's a lot that has happened in that
yeah.
time, right?
Yes.
A lot
Yes.
of wonderful realizations that I was being trained to lead from the abundance of my wisdom, no matter what.
Mm.
That was my training,
The abundance of your wisdom
my
to
wisdom,
lead. Yes. And the way you said that, to lead from the abundance of my wisdom. We have
no matter
so
what.
much wisdom. And in my opinion, I gain wisdom through a lot of the mistakes I've made. If it's
Yeah.
easy, am I really becoming wise? Like I'm skating through, I haven't had to learn very much. But when something was hard and challenging and I'm questioning and digging for some sort of clarity or understanding, or especially the why did this happen? What am I supposed to learn from this? That has given me a lot of wisdom. One thing that the whole time you were talking, I just kept feeling the understanding that love to me, and I had not really, and even as I'm trying, it's so funny because I cannot find the proper words for love. And I feel like it can't be explained with the English language. There are things that we feel and that we experience that currently there are not proper words for. I could go through Webster's dictionary and try 317 options, and it's never going to quite pinpoint exactly what we feel and what we experience when we are getting into those realms of wisdom and understanding and deeper comprehension and love. And I think for people that have not considered this deeply before, our frame of reference is, like I was saying, your child. So if you're a parent and you have a child and there's those moments where you look and you feel the deepest level of love you've ever felt, that is in you. That's what I that's what I want to really point out when we're in relationships or when you have a child and you look at that person and you think, I've never loved anyone this much in my life. Literally, that other human being that you're looking at or that you have those feelings towards has done nothing. The feelings that you're experiencing are all because of you. Now, yes, there's a relationship there and there's an exchange. But what I think sometimes is we feel like I'm not being loved, or nobody loves me, or I'm not lovable, or I'm not in a relationship, or I don't have children, or nobody cares about me. And yet, the reason is I'm choosing to feel that way for that child when I'm feeling all of this love. That child is doing nothing but being this perfect little baby. I'm choosing it. I'm letting that feeling grow in my body. I'm letting my body experience it. Same thing with a partner. So when you're not feeling loved or feeling appreciated, you can choose. They didn't do anything. Is that point coming across? The
Yeah,
other person did
absolutely.
nothing. So
Yeah.
if you want more love in your life, it's 100% sourced by you, not your circumstances, not your relationships, not your environment, not your job, not anybody else's responsibility, except your connection to whatever your higher power is. And I know for some that is not the word God. There is something inside us connected to something bigger. And we know because we've had those experiences where we feel what I would call love. When you feel the bigness of who you are, or there's something out there so much bigger than you, or when a universal surprise lands in your lap that you just don't even have the words for the amount of gratitude, that's love, a fun level of love. It's in the relationships. It's in the relationships with your children and your partner and your friends and all of that. It is an exchange, but it's omnipresent. It's always there. It's just, are we choosing to access it? Are we choosing to let us think about it and feel it and recognize it? And then are we choosing to let it flow through us to other people?
You did a remarkable job in describing that. Thank you.
Thank you. I was really
You
struggling with
you
some
were
words.
con oh no, you were connected then.
Oh,
Absolutely.
mm, mm. This is such a beautiful conversation. I did not expect it to go here, and I am loving all of this. So, in the work that you do, is the foundation, let's talk about love, or that's what I want to ask you.
Yeah. Okay.
And what could you
Yes.
offer to someone who's listening that they might be able to do on their own before they've found you, or that they could contemplate tonight and maybe implement into their life?
Yeah. So I don't think I've ever spoken about love as prolifically as we are doing now because I only realized on the 1st of April, I finally found the words. I know it's so perfect because I get to experience it and it feels really great. So thank you, thank you, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
So how I normally frame up when I work with somebody is we work with the premise, and it's the premise that changes everything. And of course, it's absolutely founded in love, that we create the whole of our reality with love and wisdom always. The divine composition, the ulterior motive, the divine perfection. So that's how I normally frame things up. And I say to people, you'll never understand this with the mind. If you try and understand that with the mind now, you can't. You have to have the experience of it first,
Mm-hmm.
and then you'll understand it. So just choose to decide that is true, and then go and live life by that, and then you'll have the experience of it. So for your listeners, then, if they have situations right now that they don't have the answers to, that might be immovable, impenetrable, unshakable, to consider that love is here, that circumstance or situation is part of the plan. It's not wrong. It's not misplaced. It's not a mistake. And to really surrender into seeing the divine perfection of it all, to seeing the higher purpose of it, the sacred purpose of it all, But the only way that we can do that is to go through the portal of our humanity,
Oh,
right? So it's not as if I'm going to abscond all of my feelings and I'm going to pretend as if I'm not feeling anxious and I'm not feeling anger and I'm not worried and and I feel out of control. And no, we have to go through the portal of our humanity. We have to feel all of those feelings. And from a practical point of view, how I live my life, even before my awakening, I have always written because I love writing. So I only defined what I write a couple of years ago when I took myself away to write. And then I realized, oh, these are notes to self, notes to my little self, notes to my big self. These honor all of my humanity. These honor also my connection. So writing is an amazing way of becoming present
oh,
with all of you. I do that every day. And the other thing that I do is I meditate. I close my eyes. Sometimes I might be on my bed, but I also meditate when I go for a walk or when I go for a run or even when I'm in the shower and I'm driving. I don't define meditation as being, you have to sit there cross-legged and closed eyes. It's just being present, right?
mhm.
Being present. And speaking of that love feeling that you were talking about before, and that being a decision, because that was just so perfectly said, is when I am in that state of meditation, I will acknowledge my anxiety, my worry, my anger, whatever it is, absolutely, and I'll be with it. And I also choose to feel that love.
Yeah,
Like I embody it and it shows me things.
it shows you. There's just no words for how much I love this conversation. And when you were talking about the impenetrable, I can't even say that word. I know the word impenetrable,
Yes.
immovable. We'll choose that one, but unshakable, all of those. I wonder what would happen if you're listening or watching this. I wonder if you actually looked at that one circumstance and decided, what if I started focusing the energy of love towards it? Not necessarily that I'm going to fall in love with the circumstance or be
Right.
happy about it. That might be a far reach mentally, but what if I just decided, I wonder if love could penetrate it. So I'm going to pretend like I'm going to draw love out of my head and out of my heart at it, shoot through it. Not
Yes.
not pour love
Beautiful.
down on it like it makes me so happy. I know it's
Yeah.
challenging. We don't necessarily love the challenging moments, but I think God and the universe want us to have more fun too.
Yeah.
There's a sense of humor and a lightness towards things. What if I could make this light? What if love actually could heal it? If we made it light and playful, what if there is a bigger power than me that could maybe change this? And ask, okay, is there something I can be learning from this? Is this helping me to develop differently? If something is presenting itself for me to look at it, who can I become because of this? What is this trying to teach me? Are there ways around this? What I ended up realizing was over time, looking back, not only did I become a better version of myself and I developed these character traits I couldn't have. I don't know if I would have developed without it. I also made connections with other people. And one of the best blessings in life is the connections we make with other people.
I just said this last week actually. I have a naughty, playful nature. And you know what? It disarms my fear. It disarms my
I
fear.
That made me so happy. I have a naughty, playful nature. Some of my guy friends would love to hear that. I don't think I'm still single, so I don't think I can say it the way I want to say it. I have a naughty, playful nature. That's gonna be fun. I'm gonna
And it
remember that.
disarms, right? It
It
disarms.
does.
It
It
does,
does.
right? Right?
Yes, when the challenging times are upon us, or we don't have the clarity, or we're not sure the next steps, it
Yeah.
is. We make that serious. And yet, when
Yeah.
we look at the whole scheme, this is like
Yeah.
the period of how many years of my life. So I like to
Yeah.
shrink things down to I'm going through this for this day or this week, or especially when I look back at places where I haven't performed at my best, I didn't behave at my best. that was a moment in time. Or maybe I had a really bad week. I was good to some people, but I'm judging the whole week by my behavior to whatever the one experience was. So I think if we look at the longevity of our experiences and how we don't remember the good things we've done, we remember the bad, quote unquote bad, the shameful, the embarrassing, the ones that have regret, the ones that we don't have answers to, where we could have caused harm and hurt people. The majority of time, we don't give ourselves enough credit for all the good that we did do in between these little momentary bad, momentary off days. I believe that we are walking beings of love. We just speak different levels of love and different languages of love. And sometimes we radiate it more than we choose. Sometimes we put two sweaters and a big heavy coat and a scarf on the top of it and don't let anyone feel it. And we go about life very protected. And then other times something happens and it just busts through anything that we're wearing. And love to me is it's a feeling, a way of being. It's all of the emotions. Even fear has an element of love in it.
I
There's
agree.
so, I just believe it is everywhere all the time. But I'm inviting all of us. Could we be more curious about the ways we haven't recognized what love is and how it shows up in our lives? What is love for me? What is love? How do I feel it? How do I see it? Where have I missed it? Where have I not recognized it? And then where have I not appreciated it? Because it's more present than we know.
I mean, that would change everything.
Mm-hmm.
That inquiry,
Mm-hmm.
that would change everything.
I agree. Okay. So before we wrap up, is there anything
Yeah.
else that you feel, let's sit for a second. Is there anything else you feel is important to share for any of the listeners, any of our viewers?
So my heart area is really alive right now. And I feel like if the listeners were present, because you can only hold and receive a conversation like this in presence. So if they have been in presence to continue the inquiry that you just initiated in that last part, because it really could create some pretty awesome results, not only inside of themselves and how they feel about themselves and others, but also in the external world,
Mm-hmm.
right? Really, if they have a business, there may be a new vision that arrives, or there might be an answer that they've been seeking. There might be new money that comes through, right? Like in their health, maybe they see something in their health that starts to shift something that's not been in alignment. Or maybe it creates more understanding in a relationship that brings beautiful unconditional love and acceptance to it and understanding. The thing that I love about love is that it actually creates it is in my experience it is the I don't want to say strategy, but I do want to say strategy. Like I don't want to dilute it by saying it's
Yeah,
a strategy.
no.
I don't want to make it into something that let's go and do love because now that's going to give us this thing. But it is the vehicle to the 3D results in our physical world. It is. It in my experience and in what I have witnessed. So that's what I want to say. I'll end with this. You talked about it can be fun. One of my most significant life-changing moments happened when I went for a run.
Oh,
I was running by the beach along here, and then I got a message, stop and meditate. I was like, what? I'm running. Stop and meditate. And this was at a time where things were not good. So this is around 2013. I'd made some silly decisions in my business. In the bigger picture, no, they were necessary. But I was really suffering, really suffering.
mm-hmm.
And because things weren't working, things were going downhill. And so I listened. I went, okay, I'll stop and meditate. So I stopped and meditate by a bench. It's my favorite bench. And I closed my eyes and I allowed love to penetrate me because love was with me. Love was with me. Love told me, go and meditate, stop. And I saw that who I believed I needed to be, that created nothing in my business other than lots of anxiety, was everything that I was being taught to be. It's changing now, thank God. But there
Yeah.
was a time where you needed to go and do this, you needed to go and be this, you needed to. I had a marketer tell me, I spent $20,000 on this marketer to tell me, you can't talk like you do. You can't present like you. Nobody will ever accept you. So let me give you the languaging, which was not a fit at all to me. And all that it did was create massive anxiety as I'd go and pitch with this languaging that wasn't mine. And the message was, and it was clear. The message was authenticity is profitable. That was it.
Oh.
Authenticity is profitable. I went home and I realized actually in that moment that there's a whole lot of people out there still doing what I was doing. And I know that doesn't end in a very profitable way or in a very happy way. And I thought maybe I'm actually here to serve those people. And I came home and I did a piece of writing just for me. And I looked at it and I thought, actually, that's really good. At that point on Facebook, I had only ever shared my writings just to share. I never had attached my business to it. I thought I might attach an offering to that. And I did. I thought people might think I'm a bit weird because I was presenting myself as I am with you. I had two people sign up to what was then a $10,000 program on Messenger that night that I didn't even know. So I
Oh,
just wanted to say that, like, right? Like, love,
I'm so glad you
happen
said that.
anywhere. It can
Yes.
happen anywhere. It happened on a run. I wasn't sitting with a coach. I wasn't in Vipassana. I hadn't gone on a retreat somewhere. I wasn't business planning my life out. I had gone for a run and I got the message, stop and meditate. So
I
there you
love
go.
when you said that. I was visualizing you saying, yeah, okay, come on. Like you took your buddy Love for a jog with you out by the beach. And then your buddy is like, stop and meditate. What if people decided, you know what? I'm going to take Love for a jog today. I'm going to take Love for a walk on the dog with
Exactly.
the dog. I'm going to take Love to work with me today. If you can't feel it in your body, if you don't understand, we are walking beings of love. We are. That's what we are. We don't think that we're that all the time, but we are. And if that sounds a little challenging or far-fetched, okay, then what if I took my buddy Love to work with me today, or for a ride in the car? Or what if I just pretended it's like when we're little and we're 7 and we have an invisible friend? Pretend you have an invisible friend again. You don't need to tell anybody about him and take him with you somewhere and see what happens. And because Love's already there. So Love's going to be out when you're jogging or at work, waiting for you to show up and recognize like an invisible person. He's there. So I think making love fun, one of the messages I hope everybody holds from this, aside from love, that authenticity is profitable. And more than anything now, people need to know who you are. They need to know what your voice is, what you want to contribute to the world. Be authentically you. We don't need to be anybody else. We, when we're scared and we haven't figured out who we are yet, it's easy to model after someone else. It's easier to be brave watching someone else, but authenticity is profitable. And I think I love hearing that. That sat inside me too, to be able to think the more authentic you are, the more the money will come. I think that's because money is waiting for you, but it's truth. You can only be you. You can try and be someone else for a while, but the sooner you figure out who you are and the more authentic you are, there will be abundances of blessings in different ways for you. And I think this is one of the best conversations I've ever had.
Oh, there's a remembering happening
It's the funniest
because
thing.
you have been speaking to it so beautifully, so powerfully, so perfectly, seriously.
Yes, I've known
Like yeah,
you are love. That's what you're here to do. That's your whole
yeah.
calling in life, is to be love. And I had forgotten that for a long time. So this conversation
Oh,
has been very
oh,
powerful for me. I know it will be as powerful for the right people. And if it doesn't
Yeah,
resonate with you, I'm so grateful you made it till the end of the episode. And I'm telling
exactly.
you, something will be planted. We can't talk about love and not have it seep in. It's going to get through even the hardest, the impenetrable that I can't say.
Yay.
Okay, so the way that I love to end all of my calls is thinking about the woman that you are today and what you see and feel for yourself in the future. How would you end the statement, I am the one who?
Oh, how wonderful. Oh, my heart just went off then.
You can sit with it, whatever you feel.
Oh, yeah, my heart responded right. I am the one who holds the provocation that love is the path, the medicine, and the transformation, regardless of circumstance or position. That's how it ended.
That was so beautiful. Love is the medicine, the path, and the transformation. I
Yeah,
wrote this down.
regardless of
Position
circumstance
and
and position.
Mhm.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
There is no place that love isn't. Love is. It just, love is, period. Or you could dot, 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 and it's going to be everything that finishes that. Love is. This has been one of my favorite episodes by far. I'm very grateful that this just flowed and unveiled itself as we went. And how can people come and find you? Where are you?
So go to my website, Mel. Me is the easiest, right? Just,
Yes,
I'm sure you put in the show notes, Giselle at
I will. I'll put in all
gisellegambi.com.au.
the links.
Facebook is another place you can find me.
Mhm.
Yes, just if it's there,
Yes.
just connect.
And if you feel called, clearly you should reach out to her. In my opinion, there's not one person that couldn't benefit from working with you and getting in your world and being in this kind of a level of shifting understanding around love and around transformation and around what's possible. Wow, so great. What a pleasure. And thank you everyone for listening or watching. I hope I hope that you guys enjoyed it a fraction of how much I enjoyed it. This is just exactly what my heart needed for the day. Thank you so much. And we will see you
Thank you.
all. Yes.
I was going to say thank you for receiving me.
Mm,
Feel really received. Thank you.
yes. We will see you all again soon.